Entertalk Radio, you're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You are so smart because you are tuned into May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host, and a man who is recently back from vacation. Definitely ready for another one. Headed out to Nashville next week. Not really a vacation, more just working in a different city. With me is the studio engineer who's on a permanent vacation, Paul B. Paul, how's the vacation treating you?
I don't know if I would call this a vacation. I guess living in San Diego, you could kind of think of it as a permanent vacation. It's definitely sunny, but I spend a lot of time indoors lately. That's not a good sign.
In dark rooms, trying to make cables fit into various
pretty
slots. Yeah, I hear you. Are you and Florentino going out to the big, bad, and wildly humid summer NAMM show?
Tino's going out there. I am not.
I got lucky this year. Got the duck out of the show. Look at you.
Yeah, well, I get the duck out and don't have to deal with the heat, but I am going to miss out on the Nashville hot chicken. That hurts.
Nashville hot chicken.
That hurt. You got to try it. You're going to be out there, right?
Yeah, I got a couple clients going, so I'll be there.
Oh yeah. You got to try the Nashville hot chicken. Oh man.
I have tried it. I'm not a spicy food guy.
Oh, okay.
But it will shorten your eyebrows. It will shorten the length of your eyebrows for sure.
And maybe your lifespan a little bit.
Maybe your lifespan.
If you're not careful.
I love going to Jack's though. I love getting the barbecue. Barbecue anywhere in Nashville is good.
Jack's we had barbecue awesome. There too. Barbecue was really good. They know how to eat down there. They don't mess around.
They do. And then you walk around trade show floor, hopefully burn something off. That's what I'm talking about. Nice. Well, who am I? What do I do? Why am I talking to you? That sort of thing. Man, who am I? So I'm Scott. I run a public relations firm called Robertson Communications. The best darn public relations firm that I know of. And how do you reach me? You can find us on the website, robertsoncom.com. You can find my email, which is scott@robertsoncom2ms.com. Twitter @robertsoncom2ms also. And then also on Facebook, facebook.com/robertsoncom2ms, like communications. Please reach out, and if you regularly listen to the show or you just started listening and you want to post a comment or something like that, just communicate with me directly, and we can chat about it and see what's going on. I love to get those emails, and sometimes people send me an email and say, I think you were totally wrong on this kind of thing, and I'm like, it's America, I can be wrong. What? Come at me with something else more than that, It happens, folks. That's what I'll say. But, you do the best you can. And you guys are so smart because you are tuned into what I'll call episode 129 of the show, which is all about publicity stunts. I call it, Are You a Stunt Man? As we all know, publicity stunts can be pretty cool. They're planned events that are designed to attract the public's attention to a cause or a message or something that's going on. Publicity stunts can be professionally organized, or amateurs can set them up too, What I've found over my career is that there are kind of two kinds of PR people, and you're usually not. You're either one or the other. You're either a pro stunt person, and you like using stunts a lot, or there's like non-stunt people, and they're not as much for the stunts. I will disclose at the beginning of the show of the segment that I am not traditionally a stunt person. If a stunt is suggested, that is usually not even in the top 5 ways that I use to penetrate, using the media. And we can kind of go into that a lot, but I think it'll become clear during the course of the show that I tend to think in terms of downside risk versus upside potential of something. And stunts fall really firmly in that crazy category of stuff that you really can't control. and stuff can go really south on you. So, let's talk about a couple of folks. So let's talk about PETA, because the people for the ethical treatment of animals. You can't talk about stunts and not talk about PETA. They are huge on stunts, right? They get a ton of media attention for doing all kinds of goofy stuff about animals, and you've seen it. The media loves to cover them and just says, "Here's the latest." Dumb stuff coming from PETA. The latest one, just this past week, is they wrote a letter to a mayor in Idaho asking to rename Chicken Dinner Road to something more what they call fowl friendly. They wrote, and these are actual words that human beings wrote to another human being. They said, PETA is asking Mayor Nankalis to change this road's name to one that celebrates chickens as individuals, not as beings to kill, chop up, and label as dinner. Okay, so as a wise friend of mine once said, if God didn't want us to eat animals, he wouldn't have made them out of meat. Okay, so PETA's mission, is to be the champions of animals, who can't really defend themselves from a lot of bad things that people do to them, right? And I get that. And I certainly kind of get what they're trying to do. But my brand perception of PETA is that it's an organization that's known for doing really, really dumb things really loudly. And really, like if there's like a line where we could all agree that, yeah, animals are great. I have a dog, you have a cat, everything else. We can all kind of agree on that kind of thing. Then they go like 15 steps over that line into just stupidity, just blatant stupidity. And there's no other word for it. Things like, Americans and people around the world, we eat chickens for dinner. That's what we do. We've done it for a long, long time, too, just so you know. So if you come in and say, well, chickens are individuals and not beings to kill, chop up, and label as dinner, that is inaccurate. Chickens are here so that we can eat them. Welcome to what I'm going to call, in this part of the class, the food chain, right? And the food chain, funnily enough, has human beings right up there at the top. And the bonus round of being at the top of the food chain is we get to eat the other things, right? And so PETA now wants to say, well, we shouldn't do that. Wrong. We should, I get that they can attract some people and say, well, no, you should do nothing but, you shouldn't eat animals. Just pardon my French, but piss off. That's ridiculous. And just, that's just stupid. It's so dumb. So if you make a lot of noise and it doesn't serve your organization in a positive way, it doesn't serve your brand brand identity in a positive way, did you really win? See, I don't think so. And I'll use another case to talk about this. The International House of Pancakes, we've talked about a lot in this show. They arranged a large publicity stunt. Great teaser campaign. They got a ton of media off of changing their name from IHOP to IHOB to talk about their making burgers. They got tons of press, tons of awareness for their name change to IHOP. Not a lot of it was positive. And if you look really closely at the press, none of it was very positive for the burgers. They said, it's a burger. It's not that good. Whatever. It's not as bad as their pancakes. And you're kind of left with a pretty empty feeling on this thing. So while PR people are like, yay, we got a bunch of, we look at how much media attention we got. If you get a bunch of media attention and it's not positive media attention, did you win? Did you really win? And that's what, and that's what you have to consider. If you're going to have a roundtable discussion with people and discuss doing publicity stunts, then you have to understand and firmly go in there understanding that there is a great chance that you're not going to be able to control the narrative of how this gets looked at and played out, right? Especially in today's society. And somebody's probably going to be offended because people are offended off of anything. Let's talk about a couple that worked, though. We talked about PETA and their nonsense, and we talked about IHOP and what they're doing. A couple of media stunts were really interesting over this past year. Last November, Payless Shoe Stores took over a former Armani store in Santa Monica, California. They dressed it up with high-end sculptures, art pieces, rebranded it as a boutique shoe store, Publicity. Payless with an I, basically. And then invited fashion influencers to see the shoes priced for hundreds of dollars, shoes that, these are priced like hundreds of dollars. And these shoes are from Payless shoes, so they cost $20, $40. They're found in like strip malls across America. All the major broadcast outlets ran segments covering the prank, as did national and local newspapers. The buzz was incredible, and Payless did such a fantastic job with that. And they really showed, they really kind of shined the light like on influencers and things like that, and said, oh, these people are recommending these shoes. And then Payless said, yeah, and they're Payless shoes, not $20, thanks. Although, just as we're talking, and as this may have occurred to you while I was saying this, is the fact that Payless shoes went out of business, earlier this year. They are now sort of bankrupt and out of business, closing stores. So maybe that's not the most successful, publicity stunt ever. Or another way to say that could be the PR was very successful, but there were other things in the business climate and the business model that just isn't going to work out for them. Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch Company, they love a good stunt. They love a good stunt. They spend a lot of money. They do a lot of cool things. One of the coolest ones I saw they did was the Victory Fridge. In the prior to the start of the 2018 NFL season, Bud Light announced that it was going to put a locked Victory Fridge in 10 bars around Cleveland. And the moment the Cleveland Browns won their first game, the refrigerator case gets unlocked, and 512 beer bottles in each case will be given to fans for free. Free beer. Cleveland's excited about winning. Cleveland isn't so bad these days. They're getting better and better and better. And the Browns won their, they won their first game in the second week of the season. So this was kind of interesting. So it caught fire on social media, the PR move, the whole thing just went national and was great for Bud Light on that. And the refrigerator case was, worth $538, and they only spent this is a cool part. Each refrigerator case had about $538 in it, and so they spent $5,400 on this stunt, and they got millions of dollars of free press, for $5,400. I mean, if you're sitting in a marketing chair right now, you would make that trade every day and twice on Sunday if you could do it. Very, 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 easy choice to make, right? Easy choice. So McDonald's, International Women's Day in 2018, we talked about it on this show. I think it bears mentioning again. McDonald's flipped its M's to W's to celebrate women. And in 100 of its stores, McDonald's introduced special cups, packaging, uniforms, that kind of thing, with the flipped McDonald's logo flipped to a W. On the day, International Women's Day, McDonald's was the number one brand queried on Google. They did a fantastic job. And all they did was just say, what if we could somehow turn our iconic golden arches upside down from an M to a W to celebrate women? Really simple thing for them to do, right? And so they were able to do it, and in some places they changed signs, they flipped signs, in some places they just did it with uniforms, in some places they did it, just digitally, there's a lot of different ways, but you gotta call and say that they, without too much monstrous amount of work, McDonald's got a lot of support for that kind of thing. So, there's a couple of examples of some that didn't work and some that did work. Here's what I want to say. To me, great PR is about relationships. That's actually what the R in PR stands for. And so, when you're out there making your big headlines, you want to make sure that your media and your influencer coverage is going to somehow deepen your relationships, or hopefully bring you some new ones, preferably without damaging the existing ones. That'd be nice. And that's how you get your PR win. Okay, it's just really important, to know that. Like I said, in my career, I've been a part of some stunts. I had I had a tech client in the 90s, and we were in New York outside the Javits Center, and I will never forget this. They said, "Okay, so we're not exhibiting at this particular technology trade show." I think it was I don't even know what it was, one of the computer ones in New York, and they said, "So we're not exhibiting, but we're going to try to make a buzz at the show about our new disk drive by driving a giant truck around that had a model of the product's name had Jet in it. It was a Jet or something, and they had a jet on top of this large truck. And they said, "Oh, we're going to drive around, and you're in PR, and you're gonna drive around and see if the media want to cover us and what we're kind of doing." And I kind of raised my hand at that time, and I said, "This sounds really dumb to me. It sounds like it's not going to work. It sounds like we should exhibit at the show and sit down with media and meet like on a one-to-one basis. And then we should also look for ways we can do some outdoor advertising and that sort of thing. But we shouldn't like hang our hopes on the idea that we're going to launch this, in a guerrilla way. We're going to kind of show up." I said, it's also not very respectful for people who run the trade show when they're trying to, kind of using their spotlight and then flipping it on you for no money. I didn't think so. Oh, but it gets better. And then that client said, "Oh no, we're going to do better than that though. We're going to hand out hats with the company's name on it into the line, people in line at the Late Night with David Letterman show, just a few blocks down the road." And that was the day that I learned that security at the Late Night David Letterman show doesn't like it when you hand out hats to people in the audience. They don't like it at a high level. And that was one of the few times that I almost got arrested for doing my job. Yeah. So, think it through. At that time, I was kind of a younger PR person. I remember raising my hand in the room and saying, "I don't think this is going to work, and I think it's kind of dumb." And then I was more of a junior PR person at that time, so they, of course, knew better than me and said, yeah, Scott, it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic." And then I remember calling my supervisor, and I said, and they're like, "How'd it go?" And I said, "Well, I didn't get arrested, but it didn't go great." Although actually, I think some people did put on the hats during the David Letterman show that night. And then I think the David Letterman people just don't like that at all. So they got onto those people in the audience and said, "We're going to bounce you if you keep showing this hat on camera or whatever." So anyway, it was, I've had some mixed experiences with stunts, but if you are going to plan your big, PR stunt, you just want to think about your consequences. Very important. Hey, come on back in segment 2. We're going to talk about who's winning and who's losing this week. Talk to you in a few.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Friday, and you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk, and I am Scott, still hanging out. We're talking publicity stunts. Paul's there. He's hanging out in the dark, trying to work on this tan inside. How's it going, Paul?
It's not going very well. The tan is not working.
You need some windows in that joint.
I need stronger fluorescent lights.
Yes.
We do have windows. I actually can't keep them open because it's the sun facing. In the morning, it gets blazing in here.
Blazing.
Got to keep it as dark as possible.
I know what you mean. You guys ever do any stunts with Entertalk Radio? What stunts do you do? You do any stunts?
We were giving away coffee samples at NAMM. I think you may have gotten one of those at some point. Maybe not.
Very nice. That's not that's good. That's a good. Giveaways are great.
Yeah.
I like giveaways.
Yeah, mostly giveaways. Giveaways, contests. Nothing too wacky yet. Maybe we'll come up with something.
There's always time. There's always time to come up with something. Well, let's dig into who's winning and losing this week, kids. While I was on vacation, the whole Betsy Ross flag Nike thing kind of went off. And so, let's talk about that. So Nike apparently sided with Colin Kaepernick, obviously a huge part of the Nike think tank over there, because he didn't like the original Betsy Ross flag because it reminded him of slavery, right? Okay. And lots of media said, well, they were so right to side with Colin Kaepernick. Colin, you can't be too careful with these things, and it reminds people of slavery, and it's terrible. I mean, you ever run into situations that are so incredibly stupid that you honestly just can't even believe that there are other adults on the other side of the argument? I mean, I run into that, all the time, but here's one, ladies and gentlemen. So, this flag, this Betsy Ross designed flag, right, is a cornerstone piece of the independence of the United States of America, right? And they say, oh, white supremacists have adopted the flag. Well, good for them. But what it actually is the symbol for liberty for this country, okay? And there can't be any denying in that. There's a story that Fox News ran, and they said that they flew the same flag, huge versions of the same flag, at Obama's second inauguration. So there's Barack Obama speaking with all these various versions of the flag, and then, of course, the Betsy Ross flag is there. And so Nike pulls the sneakers, right? Fearing the conflict, and, of course, we can't do anything that Colin Kaepernick, who was famous for about 5 seconds, said is a bad idea. Just about everything that comes out of Colin Kaepernick's mouth is complete garbage. Yeah, and I mean, I gotta say this: if Nike could do themselves such a favor, if they just kicked his has-been ass to the curb, a long time ago, they should have done that. And then whenever he says something, just say, "Go away now, please." Because he gets this company into a lot of trouble, and people, around the country are like, "I'm sorry, what?" And Nike got pulled into crisis mode, and another the timing of it. They announced that they're going to pull the Betsy Ross flag shoes 2 days before the 4th of which month, kids? The 4th of July, right? When is the worst time in the world to talk about pulling something that is bearing the flag? that flew during the Revolutionary War. I mean, for my money, it's going to be 2 days before you celebrate how the Revolutionary War ended, right? That's. I mean, that is one of the dumbest, poorest timing, stupidest things I think I've ever seen in my life, and that's a long list, ladies and gentlemen. And it's just there's no rational reason for it. It's just completely dumb, and they're just burning fans. If I'm Under Armour or I'm Puma or I'm Adidas, I'm just laughing my butt off. I'm like, these guys are going to completely self-destruct in a couple of years. And we're going to be left with this, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar segment. And these idiots are going to have Colin Kaepernick and a bunch of tears. Just stupid. Textbook stupid. If you're in PR, this is where you stand up. If I'm in PR and they say we're going to pull these shoes and kind of do this, I'm like, ho, hold the phone. We're going to do what now? I'm sorry, whose idea is this? This is where you want to stand. If you want to protect the brand, you got to stand in front of dumb things like this before they become, bigger stories. Very, very dumb, very, very bad timing. And it makes everybody, who's trying to get up for the patriotism and get up for the 4th of July holiday. It makes everybody go, I'm sorry, what? Whose side are you guys on? Dumb, like I said. So anyway, let's talk about Instagram. Instagram influencers aren't super good at influencing anymore, according to some studies that have come out and an article by Days Digital, which just came up. So according to data by analytics firm Influencer DB, Instagram has become overcrowded with sponsored posts, and influencers from all industries are feeling the effects of cluttered feeds. Another study published by Mobile Marketer said engagement was measured on a like-to-follower ratio, by the average of followers, number of likes on each post compared to the number of followers. So users are clicking like less than ever because they're tired of being influenced. And the engagement rate is falling to 2.4% from 4% in 2016. So, but here's an interesting nugget from this study. I thought it was interesting. It seems the less followers an influencer has, the better the engagement. So those with 10,000 followers have 3.6% engagement rate. Influencers of 5 to 10,000 have 6.3%, and users with 1,000 to 5,000 had the highest engagement rate of 8.8%. So again, that suggests that influencers with smaller followings tend to have more loyal fans, which is something that brands have tapped into, jumping onto what they call the micro-influencer bandwagon. As I mentioned, my many shows on influencer marketing, I think influencer marketing and influencer industry and all these kind of things, this is just an adjunct of what PR has been doing for a good long time. We look for different vehicles to help carry in the message. Now, when you get into starting to pay people to do it, that's where things get a little shady for me, because you have to disclose, for the simple matter of trust, and certainly there's some blogger rules and things like that on the FTC, enforces, and I encourage you to look into any of that before you're going to do it. But just for the idea of, we're doing this to get trust. If you're going to pay somebody to do something, then you need to disclose how much you paid them to do it. And that is just an absolute. You have to do that, because if it comes out later that this influencer said, yeah, buy this guitar, buy this strap, buy this kind of thing, and you paid them to do it, and it comes out that way, then you're gonna see a very nasty wave of communications coming your way from people that say, oh, well, if they had to buy it, then their products must suck or something. It's gonna boomerang back on you in a really negative way. So don't do that. The influencer industry is always kind of evolving. It's very much evolving, and I think that they are looking for ways that they can kind of exist, and ultimately how they can influence the audiences they're trying to influence with find a way to monetize it and find a way to disclose everything so everybody kind of knows everything and nothing's shady or kind of behind the scenes. So that's kind of an interesting story. I'm going to put influencer marketing in kind of losing this week, but always evolving kind of position. AT&T is winning, I got to say. I'm I'm an AT&T customer, but whatever. But they've become the first major wireless company in the United States to automatically block robocalls, and that deserves a round of applause. That is exciting. I have 2 apps on my phone designed to block robocalls, and I'm glad they're going to start blocking them at the source, because it's a plague, man. It is an absolute plague, and I don't get the people. If telemarketing is part of your strategy, why don't you ever think about the audience? Why don't you ever think that the minute they get a telemarketing call from you, they don't trust you, they're on the pathway to hating you. I mean, they don't hate you, but you can see it from there, right? It's close. When I get like 3-4 calls a day and people say, "Hey, I'm calling from such and such funding. I think you could use some working capital for your business." And you don't want to just hang up on people. It's just not nice, but then you just have to. You just have to. And you have to. And if you're me, you have to say, look, this is not a marketing strategy that's going to work out. I'm not going to disclose my financial information for my business from some moron that just called me on my cell phone. Do you get that? The people that I choose to borrow money from to grow my business are going to be people in my network that are trusted providers inside my network. Nobody's going to hand over their business corporate tax returns to you calling them on a cell phone call. Wake your ass up. That doesn't make any sense at all, okay? And just stop it. It's terrible. Awful. 4.3 billion robocalls placed in the last month. Terrible. Terrible. So anyway, yay for AT&T for blocking them. That's what I say. I found a product that may be fantastic. It was covered on Fast Company earlier this week. It's a portable bidet. They call it the iPod Nano of butts. Very exciting. I love the first line of this story. You think journalism is dead in this country? Check out this line. It's no secret that Americans have a damaging addiction to toilet paper. While bidets are common around the world, we continue to wipe our butts with softened trees. That's 50 pounds of paper per person every year that taxes our sewer system. What's more, it's not nearly as hygienic to wipe it as it is to rinse with water. So Sunny is a bidet that's designed to win over the hearts and minds and other parts of America, and it's now on Indiegogo for $79. So a couple of things I liked about this. I love the Fast Company story. I love the lead. That is strong writing. Whoever wrote that, you didn't put your name on the story, but I like it. It's very, very good. Oh, no, Mark Wilson. Sorry, Mark Wilson from Fast Company. That's the kind of journalism we need in this country. Where is that? We need more of that happening. And I think all of you that are interested in a portable bidet, and you might be, I don't know if you are or not, you can go to Indiegogo now and check this thing out for $79, and it might very well be the greatest product that you've ever purchased in your entire life. And there you go. So I'm going to say that's definitely winning, and the story by Fast Company is definitely winning. So love that. Summer NAMM is next week, and Martin came out a little bit before the show and launched something kind of funny, kind of cool. They launched and I love that they pitched it to Music Radar first too, which is nice because it's located in England. They made a Brexit guitar. So Martin's unveiled a Brexit-themed acoustic guitar. Very, very nice. It's a satirical take on the UK's hellish political landscape with a very nice acoustic guitar, and it has George Washington with the sunglasses on. It's like a half EU, half Union Jack graphics kind of thing. It's like $3,000. So, I mean, man, who knows? But Martin Guitar definitely deserves to be winning for coming out with an announcement like that. And it's funny. It's one of those things you might see like April 1st. But I guess they are actually making the product, and it's $3,000 for the damn guitar. So, and it's out in Summer NAMM next week. I will check it out and report back to you. You know who's winning this week is Toys R Us, or as I used to call them, Toys Were Us. But Toys R Us is going to reopen some stores in the U.S. later this year. Get excited. They're just in time for the 2019 holiday season. Toys R Us is coming back. They're going to launch an e-commerce site and several stores in the U.S. later this year. The new stores are expected to be about a third of the size of traditional outlets because no retail outlet can ever compete with Amazon.com and pay that kind of rent and have that many employees. but with play areas and other experiences. Really interesting. So the former executive of the company has been trying to bring back the chain. He's the CEO of a company called True Kids, Inc., a new company that took over the Toys R Us brand in February. So, interesting. Toys R Us definitely winning. You know who is losing? Marriott and a few others are facing big fines by UK authorities over data breaches and violating the GDPR, General Data Privacy Regulations in the UK that we've talked about quite a bit on this show. So Marriott is facing $123 million in fines over this. And they're starting to come after more and more companies. They're coming after an airline. I think it was American Airlines or British Airlines. So British Airways, a record fine of $230 million following a British Airways data breach. The airline confirmed that 500,000 customers had their credit cards skimmed over a three-rated period, and so these companies are not just losing out on losing data and having to fix all that and those kind of things. They're really getting fined hard by the UK authorities for misuse of the data, and for violations of GDPR. This is going to become really, really important because remember, as I said on the GDPR episode, I said it's going to be really interesting when companies start facing hundreds of $millions of fines. It's like, what now? You're going to start to care about privacy at a high level. California's data privacy initiative or regulations go into effect in January of this coming year in 2020, and they'll start fining people too. Individuals can start filing lawsuits, by the way, for misuse of data. That should be fascinating in the most litigious state on the planet. That should be interesting. So the issue of privacy and marketing is going to become very, very contentious and very, very interesting, especially as companies start to pay for it and pay a lot more for it. So Marriott and British Airways are definitely losing this week. Journalism, the economy's booming, booming. But journalism job cuts haven't been this bad since the Great Recession. Jerry Smith on Bloomberg.com reports today that more journalism job cuts have happened. The news business is on its pace for its worst job losses in a decade, as 3,000 people have been laid off or offered buyouts in the first 5 months of this year. Newspapers owned by Gannett, McClatchy, digital media companies like BuzzFeed, Vice Media, and CNN have all shed employees. It's the highest level of attrition in journalism that we've seen since 2009, when the industry saw almost 8,000 job cuts in the first 5 months of the year. So it is interesting that journalism, that we don't have to pay for content. And that's why journalism is having such a hard time. Journalists are having such a hard time. PR is there to help them, hopefully. And that's who's winning and losing this week. You were still tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Media. Come on back. We're going to talk about, we're going to give you some tips on how to run your own stunts.
I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Entertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EntertalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. You are back with May the Best Brand Win on Entertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. And I am Scott, your host, a man that's just gone through a litany of winning and losing stuff. And now we're going to talk to Paul about what Paul liked. What'd you like, Paul?
I'm designing my own flag. It's time to move on.
Create your own flag?
Yeah, create your own flag.
Move on?
Yeah. Like it'll be more like a hipster flag. It's gonna have like,
I like it.
It's gonna have 50 stars, 30 Pokemon.
Oh, nice. Like Sun and Moon Pokemon in there.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mix of old and new. What America used to be and what America is.
Nice, giving new credence to the phrase "Let your freak flag fly."
Yes, exactly. It's going to be a freak flag. I mean, at this point, with America today, a freak flag is what we deserve.
Can you believe the stink over that whole thing, man? I was on vacation and I was just shaking my head and I was just like, oh, they're so lucky I'm not doing my show this week. Good God.
I mean, the thing that drives me crazy is there's like a lot of really, really like sinister stuff to be appalled about if you want to be appalled.
Yes. Yes.
Pick something not so safe. Pick something that'll get you in a little bit of trouble.
Exactly. Pick, There's a lot of, as I say, and what should be the tagline of my business, there's a lot of stupid in this world. There's a lot of stupid. And it's like, something's got to be done.
Did you hear about this thing? People are it's kind of started out as a joke, but I don't know. People are supposedly going to rush Area 51 in September or something.
Oh my God, I did hear about that.
Now
So
that's a stunt.
400,000 people are going to rush Area 51 because they want to see, quote unquote, them aliens.
Yeah.
I did hear about that. Okay, so Area 51 is an Air Force base, right? It's a functioning Air Force base. So if you storm a working Air Force base with 400,000 people, the first 10 are going to get shot in the head, right? Mm-hmm. My guess.
Or I was just reading about it on Reddit. Someone said, they got the non-lethal weapons that, they can project a wave that makes you feel like your skin's on fire. Like you're going to find out. You're going to find out what that feels like. Yeah.
It's friggin' DARPA or like the Air Force. You're right. They don't have to use guns. They probably have a bunch of different types of weapons. But the first people through the fence, they're going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a poor day. You don't rush a military base. That's a bad idea.
That's a great opportunity for some publicity stunts, though. Keep that date in mind if you have any clients that want to get crazy.
How many bottles of absinthe does it take in your body? How many shots of absinthe does it take to bum rush Area 51?
That's a marketing question.
I did see that story. I should have put that in winning and losing, actually. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That was there. I mean, again, that's just. I think I just might change the tagline for my company and my show from "May the Best Brand Win" to "There's a whole lot of stupid in this world." Just a whole lot.
Who knows? Maybe the people that run that base are like, I mean, we have all this cool stuff and nobody's coming to check it out. I wish someone would come. Everyone's so shy.
I hope they see some aliens, man. I mean, I hope they do. It's fun. Well, that's fun. We could do that all day, but let's give you some tips. It's segment 3. I like to send you home with some tips in case you're planning on doing your own stunts, which could be fun, in case you're planning on bum rushing Area 51. Tip number one, and this kind of goes without saying, but, have a business goal. Make sure you understand that that this is designed to, help and benefit a business, a cause, something. Make sure you can articulate it all the way through and say, if we got this extra awareness, if we got, that would lead to more, donations if it's a cause, or that would lead to more sales if it's a product, or it would lead to, more people liking us, which you keep them on the brand carousel. Have something that can be articulated in the area of a business goal. There are a lot of stunts that happen kind of for stunt's sake, like the one I was talking about with the technology company and the jet and everything. It's like, I wasn't even clear on what the goal was. The goal was they see your brand and your product at a trade show, but you're not exhibiting. They can't really meet with you, and they see this, and then the thing with David Letterman is like, we're going to pass out hats at the David Letterman show, but no people who watch the David Letterman show really buy, technology products, very deep hard drives and disk drives. This was a very, expensive and kind of sort of complicated large disk drive back in the 90s. And it's like, nobody's going to buy that. And they're not even going to know what the hell it is. And it's just, there's a huge disconnect from helping the business. Yes, you can get, press, or you can potentially get your PR people arrested, but you must have a business goal. Very important. Rule number one, make sure you have it. If you don't have it, stop right there. Just stop right there and just go, no stunt. We don't have a business goal. Everybody, let's reconvene in another 6 months and see if we got a business goal for this stunt, and then we can do it then. There you go. Put a pin in it. Another way I used to delay stuff that I knew was going to fail, and I didn't really want to talk about it. So let's put a pin in that for another decade when I look for another job. Thanks. Let's see. Tip number 2. When you're doing your stunt, make sure that you're on message. Make certain that the publicity that you're going to gain, again, will benefit the business. And one of the ways you do that is not just to make sure, like in step 1, we have a goal, make sure we have a message that says, we're doing this because, we're doing this because, like, let's go back to IHOP for a second. IHOP actually did have a message and a business goal. Their message was, hey, we're going to be so good at burgers, people are going to forget all about our pancakes. And we're going to be so good, and people are going to know us for burgers, and so we're going to be an international house of burgers. Now, what was the problem that this wise reporter mentioned at the time that went on? The quality of the burgers, right? The fact that the burger segment is really crowded, and the fact that your burgers are probably not going to be the best. I'm sorry. It's IHOP, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. It's not going to work out. All the food at IHOP is like a C+. The tagline should be, hey, it's late. We're still open. We have lights. You probably won't get mugged here. You know what I mean? That's IHOP and Denny's. They fall in the, I just got off a gig. Maybe it's open 24 hours, and I'm going to make some quality trade-offs for the benefit of lighting and the fact that they have coffee that hopefully hasn't been sitting out too long, right? But you're never, that's a far cry from being, an actually good burger. And as I said on that show, and you can go back and check it, I said at that time, the success of this stunt is going to come down to the quality of the burgers. And the burgers weren't that good. They weren't horrific, but they weren't that good. And the burger space is crowded with people who are really good. I mean, there's The Habit. There's In-N-Out. There's, all your fast food places that make burgers. There's Red Robin. There's, everybody makes a burger, and everybody says they have the best burger. And there's all kinds of little boutique places that make burgers. It's like, that's a crowded space, man. And, I just, the message, at the end of the day, people just said, I'm not going there for a burger. I don't care. I don't know. They have chicken fingers. You know what I mean? People didn't care about the message. Really important that you have a good message. Number 3, anticipate all problems and potential responses. Remember the one we talked about that was Build-A-Bear, your pay your age thing, right? Build-A-Bear said, "Oh, we're going to have all the parents and the good little children of the world come down, and you're going to get your Build-A-Bear, and all you have to do is pay your age. It's going to be great." Except for one small problem. The fact that they did not anticipate the fact that people love to get things that are kind of expensive for less money, and they're going to bum rush the whole store, right? And you had all kinds of issues with the Build-A-Bear stunt in the sense that they had to shut the promotion down early, and then people were mad, and then people had to sue, and people were totally butthurt about every single part of that could go wrong kind of went wrong. And Build-A-Bear is sitting there going, "God, we just tried to do something nice, and we got just totally smoked on it." Yeah, that's the world, kids. When you're sitting in the room, don't just have an ad agency or PR agencies presenting. Raise your hand and go, "Okay, have you anticipated how, if this goes bad, what are all the ways this could go bad? What are all our responses in case it does?" In the case of the Build-A-Bear thing, they wildly underestimated demand. They amplified the hell out of it. A lot of people showed up. They disappointed tons of people, thousands of people. They got tons of negative press off of it. All those kind of things. All those kind of things need to be in a column on your analysis of this before you do it, to say, this is what could potentially happen. Just kind of push yourself forward in the future and go, if this happened, what would we do? If late night comedians start making fun of this kind of thing, what is our response? What are we doing? Think through all the things that could happen. And I know it's not it. A lot of PR people don't like to do that because they're like, well, I just like to be an optimist and think there's things going to work out. That's not the world. And it's definitely not the world today. So don't do stuff like that. Please anticipate problems, responses, have a list of them. Be ready. Be ready, be ready, be ready. Make sure that you're ready. Number 4, don't put all your eggs in the stunt basket, ever. The first thing that you should say if somebody says, "I want to do a stunt," I'm happy that you are, but there's a lot of stuff on this merry-go-round that is not on our control, and is not going to be under our control. And you got to know that. You got to know that, and you got to understand that if you put all your eggs in the stunt basket and something goes wrong, it's like, what is your counter plan here? Let's go back to my example with the stunt and the jet and the big truck and handing out the hats at the David Letterman show. Let's go back to that example for a second. They put all their eggs in the truck and handing out the hats. Really dumb marketing strategy, first of all. Secondly, they should have exhibited at the damn trade show. You exhibit at the trade show, and what do you have? The ability to do public relations at a trade show. You have the ability to meet with the press that are going to be there. You have the ability to host a cocktail reception. You have the ability to show the product off and do some things. And then if you want to do a little stunty thing, yeah, we're going to do some buttons, or we're going to do a friggin' truck with a jet on top of it, and which the cops aren't going to like, by the way. Cops do not like oversized vehicles with jets on them near the Javits Center. Just for your future recollection and reference, they don't like stuff like that. It makes them nervous. They don't like it. They ask a lot of questions. They show up, and they're not nice people. Honestly, they don't have to be nice people. They're NYPD. So understand that, right? And understand that you can't put all your eggs in the stunt basket every single time. Really, 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 really important stuff. And again, I just have to reiterate the fact that stunt stuff isn't always going to be under your control. It always relies on a few elements that you have to make kind of swing in your favor. If you're handing out hats at the David Letterman show, then security at the Letterman show has to let you do it. And then they have to let people wear them during the show. And then they have to not chastise people for wearing the hats during the show. And then the camera has to magically end up on the audience in some way during the show while they're wearing the hats. And they have to kind of make all that kind of stuff work out, right? When you say it like that, right, you're starting to get the feeling that, that maybe that is not the greatest use of our time ever, right there. That might not be the best way to do it. So anyway, there was an interesting one that I did want to mention. Elon Musk, kind of an interesting stunt that he did. he made a promise on Twitter, and he came out with, he's an inventor, right? He's like Tony Stark, right? So he invented a flamethrower to draw attention to his company, the Boring Company, and the company bores holes in the ground so they could create their Hyperloop technology. So the flamethrower that he launched this amazing fanfare, he showed the thing and said, yeah, we have the Boring Company has a flamethrower, and he never really meant to mass produce the thing, but he ended up making the flamethrower, which is weird, because I'm sure they came into the room and said, can we even make a flamethrower legally in the United States of America and market the thing, that kind of thing. But they did. And it was a fantastic publicity stunt for the Boring Company, because he did exactly what he wanted to do with it, right? People were like, well, what's the Boring Company? Oh, it's a company that bores holes in the ground and for the Hyperloop thing. So what's up with the flamethrower? Musk is just a wild man. Who knows, man? He just made a flamethrower. So again, that one kind of really worked out, right? And there's a lot of stuff, not under his control as well, and that kind of thing. But anywho, I just want to throw that out there. It's important. My last tip is, so my first tip was have a business goal. My second tip was be on message. 3 was anticipate your problems and responses. 4 was don't put all your eggs in the stunt basket. Make sure you've got a few other things going. There you go. And then number 5 was, have fun with your stunt. Stunts are very rarely serious, so do make sure that you kind of have some fun and enjoy doing them. You're having fun with it. It's like playing in a band, right? You're having fun. They're having fun. You're looking down at an iPad and look angry to be there and those kind of things. They're looking for, they're raising their hand and looking for the check and ready to go. Okay. So definitely have some fun with what you're doing in your stunts, and they should, again, this stuff is PR. So, and I don't mean to say that, every single stunt is going to end badly, but it is your job as the communications professional to be able to anticipate, anything that could go wrong. Right. So not to be a buzzkill, you come up with the fun, creative, awesome idea, but then you go, but we're prepared for all these different contingencies. I mean, that's just good planning. What have we learned today? We learned that PR stunts are out there alive and well. Some work, some really don't. The difference is often in the details, whether you have a jet on the back of your truck or anything like that. Ideas and the risks that you're prepared to take. There are huge, huge rewards, but like everything that we do, there are huge, huge downside risks to the brand, to the audience relationships, and all of that stuff, must be considered. You do that stuff right, and you're going to land on your feet every time you do a stunt. That's it for me, folks. I'm off to Summer NAMM next week in Nashville, so I will see you later this month with a fresh show and probably some interviews from the show floor in Summer NAMM. Have a great weekend. Later. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Entertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?